Okay, hello everybody and welcome to today's Forza stream. I'm Zach with FF1 and today we are doing the British Grand Prix at Silverstone, or in-game it is the Horizon Festival Circuit. Now to make my streams a little longer, because they are only 30 minutes, that's pretty short for a stream, I decided that from here on out I will also be streaming my practices for each race. So we're here at the 25 lap practice session here. I probably won't actually do 25 laps, just I've decided to set that as a personal rule that the maximum amount of practice laps I can do before each race is 25. This is a really simple track. It's not even a mile long. It's 0.9 miles long. It's a very slow track. Highest speed you'll hit is about 100 miles per hour, I'd say. 100 to 120. You spend a lot of the track just off the throttle gliding it. It's a very simple, very simple track. So it will be not that hard to learn at all. In fact, I already know this track very well. So I will probably only do like 3 laps maybe. Possibly even less for practice. I just got to get used to it. It rained again today, so this is the first night race of the season, but it rained again, so we are in cloudy post-rain night weather. So it's an interesting track, easy track, but we're still dealing with some tricky wet conditions, so the car is back on the wet setup. I'm going to let the AI go right ahead, because I kind of want to practice just on my own without the AI. So there they go. I'll leave once they go once they go around that first corner. Alright. Alright, so down the straightaway, up to second. I'm going to let it off on third through there. Second. Keep it nice and easy. There's second again. Back in on the throttle through here. You can keep it in on the throttle through here. A little too much braking. So and there's a lap. As you can see, it's a very quick lap. Not much to it. Relatively simple. There's really no technique to this track. You really just get out there and you do it. The last time I raced at the British Grand Prix, I won it, but that one was at Brands Hatch. Oh, okay. Well, that's what practice is for. But the last one was at Brands Hatch, which is a little bit bigger than Silverstone. At least in my Forza recreation it is. Although it's a very similar track. Just Brands Hatch is a little bit bigger. So this should be interesting. I'll see if I can win this again. Hold on, I'm trying to get used to this. Alright. A little bit of oversteer. At that checkpoint, I guess that's when I'll get in on the brakes. Nice and easy around here. Back down on the throttle. Second gear, first gear, through the corner, back in on the throttle. Oh, well, okay. Well, alright, you want to hug that apex. Let's go around again. About there, I'll let off. Down into first, around the roundabout. Back in on the whoa, okay. Well, I guess not back in on the throttle right there. Letting off on the throttle through there. First gear around. Easing back in on the throttle. Nice and tight over that apex. There we go. That's how you want to do it. Alright, letting off through there. There's first gear. I'm really just going to tap the throttle until the car gets comfortable. Yeah. This is a really cool track. Oh. Jesus. The car never understeers, but that corner seems to be exactly where it likes to finally understeer. It's because I'm putting too much throttle in under too much cornering. Besides that, the car feels really stable. Oh, okay. I don't know what I just did there. I'm gonna go quiet for a minute and focus in here a little. Whoa. Jesus. Clearly, I'm not used to this circuit. I don't think I've ever raced an F1 car on here before, too. Alright, I'm gonna do one more lap, then I think I'll be ready. Alright. Alright, cool. Gonna go ahead and exit out of here. And I think we averaged like 37 seconds. Yeah. Hold on, I'm doing some math. Alexa, what's 30 minutes in seconds?
30 minutes is 1,800 seconds.
Okay. Alright, 49 laps. That's what we are doing here. This should be an interesting race. It's like 10 o'clock at night right now, so I'm kind of tired. So luckily it's a relatively easy track, but we'll see if we can not finish last this time like we did last time. Alright. Yep. BAC. S. Yep. Uh, 49 laps, summer, night, cloudy post-rain. Yeah. Alright, beautiful. Alright, tune's all good. Difficulty's all good. Alright, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into the race. This is the British Grand Prix. Enjoy. 49 laps. Here we go. Whoa. Spun it a little. Spun it a little excessively. Horrible start from us. Alright, keeping it right in on the throttle, nice and easy. Trying to avoid all these guys up here. Through this turn up here, up into P8. Everybody's got flash and brake lights. Beautiful, back down on the throttle. Really quick lap. There we go, into our second lap. Nice and easy. Oh, coming up right on the, almost came right up on the side of P7. Oh, alright, we got the inside line. Shit. He was a little more gutsy through there than I was. Oh, ran a little wide, but we're up in the P7. Nice and easy now. Nice and easy. Just trying to use that final turn apex as sort of a slingshot. A little sketchy there, but we're up into P5. Well, I lost the car a little. Shooting off there. Carrying way more energy into here through these guys. Up into P3. Ooh! P2, P1. And we have the inside line, so we will retain P1. Alright, now we just have to hold P1 and drive well. Shooting off the apex. Astonishing. I love this track. It's so simple. Such an easy track. It doesn't impose much of a challenge. It's a great starter track. When I first got Horizon 4, this is the track that I always raced on. And this is probably my favorite track in the game. Actually, not anymore, but this definitely used to be my favorite track in the game. I'd say it's my favorite stock track. But it's if you're a beginner to Horizon 4, this is definitely a beyond fantastic starter track because it's simple, it's easy to memorize, you can really get used to it. It's got some interesting corners, it's got all that. It provides all of the essential things that you need to become a good driver, but it's all sort of put on a smaller scale. And in fact, I really think that these cars are way overpowered for this track, because you can see I'm barely using the throttle half the time. When I am using the throttle, most of the time it's like half throttle. So I definitely think that Formula 1 cars are a little too fast for this track, but it is what it is. It's a nice little track. I might have to make a setting just for this, or maybe make a new like rule in Formula 1 just for this track, at least in Forza Formula 1, that makes it so you run way lower horsepower on this circuit than you would on other circuits. I feel like that'd make it a little more interesting, because with all the horsepower that's being pushed through this car, it makes it so the throttle doesn't have to be used all that often. But if you lowered the horsepower by a lot on this track, you could definitely get a lot more use of that throttle and probably see a lot more interesting racing. I might do that next time I do this. If I do this again. I probably will. Hopefully I will. Headed up into lap 12. Beautiful. Whoa! Well, ran a little inside, made some contact with the wall. Sorry if I'm a little quiet this race. I know I usually commentate my races actively, and I commentate what's going on as I go through each lap, but there's really, you know, laps around this track really aren't that eventful, and there's not much to explain. It's really simple. There's no technique to this track at all. I have no braking points or anything like that memorized. It's just everything on this track, you just do it by the, you figure out what you're doing by the seat of your pants. There's nothing more to it. There's no techniques involved. There's no memorization involved. There's no braking point or other reference points involved. It's just you and the car and the track, and there's nothing else. There's nothing in between. There's nothing that divides any of it or makes any of it more complex. And right now I'm really just driving through muscle memory. Like, I'm not paying that close attention to the race. But yeah, that's why I'm not commentating that much. So sorry if I am a little quieter than usual this race. I'll try to talk a bit more. But on other tracks where I commentate a lot, like French Grand Prix, I commentated a lot. And basically every race I've done so far, I commentated a lot on. And that's because all of those circuits are, you know, all of those are decently long circuits with really complex technical sections that you have to memorize. And oh Jesus, okay. Well, car got real loose. Made back contact with the wall. But yeah, those circuits are just, there's a lot to talk about, and there's a lot to go over regarding the previous circuits I've raced on. But as I said earlier, this is really just a beginner circuit. It's like a cool down circuit or warm up circuit. It's a nice refreshing race though. I have built up quite the gap between me and P2. They are pretty far back there. It's all because of the apex on the final corner. I use it much more effectively than the AI do. They instead go a little wider through that last turn, but I always go as tight as I'm comfortable with through that turn and use the apex as a slingshot, and that increases lap times by a lot, and that gives me a major advantage over the AI. And also, if you're behind someone, that apex acts as a huge overtaking opportunity. If you're on the inside line through there, I definitely recommend going as far in, even over the apex, when going through that turn. Headed into lap 21 of the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. And a really soothing race so far. I could almost... It's not boring. It's just, you know, it's not as intense. It's not as high stakes. I could probably... It's pretty late into the night right now. I could honestly probably fall asleep just in this race. It's so relaxing. I'm just slumped back in my seat right now. My arms are really relaxed except for my hands. And I just feel really at peace with this track, and I feel really at peace with this car. around this track. And I'm surprised to see how much I've improved on this car. A couple days ago, or last week, a week or two ago, if you would have asked me if I thought that I ever would have been good on the on a mono with an i4 in it, I would have been like, hell no. I suck at that, and the car is undrivable. That's what I would have called it, completely undrivable. But now I've definitely learned how to drive this car, and I'm definitely en route to mastering the car. I'm really grateful for the rainy conditions we've had over the last couple of races, because it's made a real challenge. In fact, based on my performance in wet races this season compared to dry races, I would honestly say that I'm actually way better performing in the rain than I am in dry conditions. So I find that a little strange, that I'm better in the rain than I am in the dry. But I don't know. Maybe it's the rally tires. Maybe I should race with rally tires on dry conditions. I mean, it would make me slower, but I think they're a lot more grippy. Although, yeah, no, I think I'll have to experiment with that a little. Compare the rally tires to the race tires on dry surfaces. But there is a lot of strategy that goes into the tires during these races, and I definitely think I'm not only en route to mastering the car, but I'm en route to mastering tire pressure, tire strategy in general, as well as some other general stuff in tuning, like suspension, anti-roll bars, that kind of stuff, camber, caster, toe, all that. We are about halfway through this race. And starting tomorrow is the first day of the Austrian Grand Prix weekend. So that's going to be fun. So for the next 2 days, I'll be doing practice session streams for the Austrian Grand Prix. And then on July 5th, this Sunday, at 9:10 a.m. Eastern, I will be, as the real Austrian Grand Prix occurs live, I will be alongside it streaming Forza for the Austrian Grand Prix for my series. And here, way wide through there. Don't know what I was thinking through there. But, and I'm going to be doing the full race. It's not just going to be a 30-minute race. It's going to be the full hour and a half, the 2 hours. So it's gonna be quite a challenging but magnificent race. And I am pretty excited for it. I am a relatively new fan to F1. I got into F1 probably 2 or 3 months ago, so before that I was into NHRA drag racing and NASCAR, so that, that's a huge transition. So I am very new to the sport, which means that the Austrian Grand Prix this weekend will actually be the first F1 race that I ever truly watched live. And so I'm quite excited for that. It should be a hell of a time. Hopefully we can win the Austrian Grand Prix. Oh, jeez. I don't know what I just did there. Sorry, I'm still alive. I'm kind of just I'm in a bit of a trance right now. Approaching 10 laps to go in the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. Messing around with the throttle there a little. Got a little too wide. I'm definitely continuing to build up a gap between me and P2. Nearly there. A little bit of understeer through it. Getting relatively close to lapping the midfield. Alright, we're on the third to last lap. Second to last lap. And there's the back of the midfield. Getting really close to getting a blue flag and lapping some cars. Although we definitely don't have enough race left. Alright, white flag is out, last lap of the British Grand Prix. Let's take this puppy home and secure our third win of the season. Boom. Brought it across the line. We have taken our third win of the season at the British Grand Prix. Let's see. Oh, we also hold pole position and best. Yeah, we held pole position and best lap of the race at 34.835 seconds. Most AI ran in the 36s for their fastest lap, but some of the better AI ran in the 35s for their fastest lap. So we smoked the AI. That was a by far the most soothing and non-competitive race of the season. I almost fell asleep at one point racing it. So, you know, definitely one of the less eventful races, but nonetheless it was still fun, and it helped us secure those needed points to get closer to our championship ambitions. So races that we've won now include the Monaco Grand Prix, the Canadian Grand Prix, and now the British Grand Prix. And we also scored a second place finish at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. So counting podium finishes, I have a total of 4 now. So far we are dominating this season. Let's see if we can keep it up. The only races that we haven't dominated at so far were the Spanish Grand Prix, second race of the season with a P8 finish, and last race, the French Grand Prix with a P12 finish. So here, let's go ahead and click that. Looks like everybody's finished up. We got $5 grand. Alright, well, ladies and gentlemen, that has been the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. We have secured our third win of the season, 4th podium of the season. Tomorrow is the first practice session for the Austrian Grand Prix on Sunday. The day after that is the second practice session for the Austrian Grand Prix. And then Sunday is the Austrian Grand Prix itself. Before I go off here, I will go ahead and open some of these wheel spins. 25 grand and 75 grand. Alright. Well, thank you for watching. I'm Zach with FF1. This has been the British Grand Prix. See you next time for tomorrow's stream.